当地时间8月1日，在美国7月就业报告发布仅数小时后，美国总统特朗普突然宣布解雇美国劳工统计局局长麦肯塔福，称其操纵了就业数据，已让他和共和党难堪。就业报告显示，美国7月新增非农业就业岗位仅7.3万个，远低于经济学家预期的10.4万个，劳动市场增长几近停滞。更令人震惊的是，5月和6月的就业数据被大幅下修，合计减少25.8万个岗位，这是自1979年以来除疫情时期外最大的双月下修幅度，导致近3个月平均每月就业增长仅3.5万个，低于人口增长所需的水平。特朗普将疲弱的数据归咎于麦肯塔福，他在社交平台上表示，麦肯塔福在2024年大选前夸大就业数据，随后于选后下修近81.8万个岗位，称其为50年来最大计算错误。然而，经济学家普遍驳斥这一指控，指出数据修订是 BLS 的常规做法，反映了更多企业回复调查后的数据更新。2023至2024年间 ，BLS 曾下修12个月的数据，总计81.8万个岗位，这与麦肯塔福任期前的惯例一致。
Commissioner really has no control at all over what the numbers are. They've been produced using methods that were laid out well in advance and carried out by the professional staff of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and what the commissioner gets is the final product.
I said groundless. I don't think there's any grounds at all for this firing, and it really hurts the statistical system. It undermines credibility in BLS. They're going to suspect political influence. What I think really upset the president on Friday were the revisions to May and June. Big revisions. Every year we revise the numbers. When I was commissioner, we had a 500,000 job revision during President Trump's first term. And why do we do that? Because firms are created or firms go out of business, and we don't really know that during the course of the year until we reconcile against a real full count of all the businesses.
What does a bad leader do when they get bad news? Shoot the messenger. The woman he fired, the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, passed this Senate 88-8. Vice President Vance voted for her. And now, fire her. Well, Donald Trump, firing her isn't going to relieve the chaos that you've created with your ramshackle tariff regime. Isn't going to make the jobs that we're losing in healthcare and clean energy because of your so-called big, beautiful bill come back. None of this will change. The American people will still suffer in exactly the same way.
He uses a story, by the way, about what happened last year that is 100% wrong. The exact opposite happened. She actually reported the 800,000 downward revision in August, before the election, when it was terrible for Democrats. But that doesn't stop Trump from repeating that story, because once he's got in his head that something is a good, narrative, he keeps repeating it regardless of fact checks. President Trump, who said that firing her was unfounded and, in fact, a dangerous precedent. In the first 6 months of his presidency, when the numbers were looking pretty good, in fact, he praised them repeatedly, and only when they started turning down, he said, well, they must not be true. What was his evidence, by the way? He said, my opinion. That's not evidence, obviously. And of course, the larger point here is that he has long tried to impose his version of facts on everybody else. And now he's doing it in the government. So the people who deal in data, people who deal in facts in the government, who are career officials, intelligence analysts, specialists who are not there to be partisan, now are worried that if they provide information to the public that happens to be unfavorable or offend the president in some way, that their jobs might be at risk.
What he does is he politicizes the numbers themselves. And the person who replaces her, what does that person do next? Do they only serve up nice numbers? Do they sort of re-sand the numbers, paint them a little different color? No, if that happens, then effectively you blind the United States and all of our policymakers, all of our decision makers, all of our businesses, and you diminish us around the world.
When I was chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, the statistical agencies were going to revise the way we do our GDP and inflation numbers. A very technical thing. And the result of that was that growth would be a little slower and inflation a little bit higher. And it was right before the election. President Clinton understood the importance of the independence of the Bureau of Labor Statistics and accepted our advice. It's very, very important for everybody to be able to believe the statistics about unemployment, about inflation, about GDP. If you don't believe those statistics, it's like driving a car with no odometer, with no mileage, no gas tank, flying a plane with no instruments. Republicans and Democrats have agreed that having confidence in the independence of the statistics is first order.
Well, it's par for the course with President Trump. He's certainly talking to Jerome Powell as well, and not really happy with some of the decisions he's making.
特朗普对美联储主席鲍威尔的批评由来已久，称其为太之先生，多次要求立即降息以刺激经济。7月，特朗普甚至在与众议院共和党人会议上展示了一封解雇鲍威尔的草稿信，但尚未付诸行动。鲍威尔的任期将于2026年5月结束，且美联储主席的独立性受到法律保护。特朗普若强行解雇，可能引发法律争议和市场动荡。以上的裁员并不是个例，上任以来，特朗普政府推行大规模裁员计划，已导致超过15万联邦雇员离职，其中美国财政部损失31201名员工，教育部近2100名员工离职。经济学家表示，这种大规模裁员可能导致机构效率低下，引发外界对美国关键统计机构的独立性和数据质量的担忧。